Congressman, thanks for being here tonight.
You bet, Jim.
So, now that Joe Biden is allowing thousands upon thousands of illegal immigrants into the country, and a majority of them are testing positive, how can we ensure that they first stop surging into the country and stop spreading COVID?
Well, we would have to tell people we are not going to allow them in. Biden has thrown wide the gates. And basically, even though he said, oh, why don't you wait a little while, the message that has been directed south of our border is come one, come all, come now. And they're flooding in. And Jen, I've spent so much time on the border, but I've never seen the numbers of women and small children that are what we have coming now. Yeah, there are guys and there's some that are older claiming to be younger, but what was really shocking is the number of kids and young moms coming across. And this is even there south of McAllen, where there's such a huge surge coming in now. And I use that word because Biden did. It's something that's got to stop. And these people are risking their lives. And so, yeah, we want to stop it. We want to stop the drug cartels. We want to stop the deaths to Americans from the drug cartel drugs, the sex trafficking, all the things that come with it. We have to be serious about securing the border. So really, all he'd have to do is reverse the steps he took on becoming president, and then we will secure our border.
Congressman, we certainly appreciate you and your Republican colleagues for going down to the border, highlighting the crisis, exposing what's really going on for the American people, because, of course, the Biden administration doesn't want the press to see what's really going on. Tell us a little bit more about your trip this past week. We were down there with you. Give us some more highlights of what you saw and what really surprised you the most.
Well, I've spent so much time down there, and when I go, I don't just do the dog and pony show that's often put on for members of Congress. And that's what I told a bunch of our Republican members of Congress. Guys, come with me one night, just one night. You got to be there after midnight. You got to be down the dirt roads where there is nobody, and you will see for yourself what's going on. And a number of people were just shocked. They couldn't believe that this is what was happening. But something that was different, Jen, there were more signs, there were more arrows telling people coming across illegally where to go. And ironically, there were signs that were placed in Homeland Security plastic bags and nailed to trees, and they would say in Spanish, asylum, with an arrow pointing which way to go. We ran into some people that were going the wrong direction. They would have gone many miles without seeing anyone. And they're over here and they were in danger of getting in trouble physically. Say you're going the wrong direction. It's back this other way. But all the signs were new. It's, people have illegally taken over this country since Biden has been president. He's done nothing to disabuse people of the idea that just come on in. We're letting everybody in. And these signs directing to asylum, they're not helping matters at all.
And it really seems, we went down those same dirt roads as well after dark, right around midnight, and saw a number of migrants being apprehended. It seems like they have no concern that Border Patrol's there, of what's going to happen next. And it's almost like they want to be caught by Border Patrol because they know the Biden administration is going to take care of them.
Yeah, and there was a new thing that was not there last I was. It was a red button that you could go push, and Border Patrol would immediately come surging up and pick you up at that spot. So we've made it easier for people to get help once they cross illegally instead of making it tough. But it appears that the Texas Department of Public Safety is actually the one entity that is discouraging people from coming across, whereas the Border Patrol, they would like to discourage it, but their orders are just welcome them in and make them as comfortable as possible. But I can also tell you, there are no immigrants in any of these in-processing facilities or holding facilities that are observing social distancing or any other kind of distancing. They're packed on top of each other. They have the silver blankets wrapped around each other, pulling people together. And as you're aware, at least 10%, and Barrasso was saying, 10% are testing positive. And Biden is encouraging more and more people to come in with coronavirus, as we know they have.
Congressman, you mentioned, of course, the multiple trips that you've taken to the border. A number of your colleagues have been to the border a number of times. You've drawn attention to this over and over. We keep talking about this crisis. It doesn't appear that there's a lot of action from your Democrat colleagues. Have you seen anybody coming forward at all in recent days even to say that they side with you and they realize that this is indeed a crisis and action needs to be taken?
Well, the one Democrat I've seen is Henry Cuellar. And he represents the area along the border. He sees what's happening. One private landowner had about 3 miles of wall fence that is well lighted, cameras, and the action that landowner has taken has protected his property from the kinds of abuses that drug runners have taken around his land. So some people have taken steps on their own, but as far as the administration, no. It is a human tragedy that this administration has invited, and it's so politically contemptuous that, they actually think that these people will be voting for them in the near future if they give them amnesty, welcome more and more. And what they are doing is bringing an end to the greatest country in the history of the world.
Your Democrat colleagues have to be concerned as the 2022 election comes closer that that's going to be an issue.
Well, that's a great point, Jen. But the thing is, it appears the lesson that's overriding that is what Speaker Pelosi learned from her time, January 07 to 2011, and that is we better get everything we want done in a hurry so that all the socialist, communist, progressive, whatever you want to call it, all those things can take place as quickly as possible. But I come back the day after Easter to remind people what Dostoevsky said was true about socialism. The real threat from socialism is not economic. The real threat is atheism.
Congressman, I'm curious, President Biden and Vice President Harris, you don't see anything on their schedule in regards to a trip to the border. In fact, the Vice President has laughed at the idea of going down to the border when asked about it. Why do you think they haven't made that trip yet, and what would be your message to them?
Well, if they did make the trip, then it's doubtful that they would see anything that would disturb them. They would have it lined up in advance so that everything looks rosy, and maybe some isolated situation where they did have some people distancing themselves. But the message is you should go down to the border and not do the dog and pony show. Go down there and see it the way it really is. As you've seen it, and others I know at OANN have seen it, that's the way the president needs to see it. It will be eye-opening, and you would have to be the most calloused individual in America to see the kind of suffering that he's brought about and not resolve to do something about it.
Congressman, we appreciate you again. Thank you for making those trips down there and showing the American people what's going on, and thanks for coming on our show tonight.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks for exposing it.